wants a mom. That's really short, man.
That is what she said.
No,
oh my god. I gotta back up.
Man.
Every time I see this, I have to adjust it.
Alright, can you not hit my camera? We're having camera wars. Episode 40. Awesome.
Just like King Sunset.
Camera wars.
His black
And 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast where we talk about something sometimes.
Something sometimes.
We're sitting down with Mr. Michael.
Dude, you've had one sip.
I'm about to have the whole glass.
Alright, so
Nice to have you here, sir.
Thank you. Good to be back. Nice to see you guys
Yeah.
again.
Once you take that sip, can you introduce yourself the proper way, not as
Sure.
Mr.
Yes, hi.
Mr. Michael.
Hi, hello. I am Michael Lawrence Eisenstein.
Nice. Put in the middle name.
Yeah,
That's it.
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
it.
That's my,
He's
that's
just-
my
that's
professional name.
Did
He's
you know
Eisenstein,
it was
that's it.
Lawrence? I didn't even.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was Lawrence.
I hope so. It
Yeah.
should be in the credits.
I thought it was 10. So, welcome back. This is episode
you.
40.
Woo!
So we're
Well
really
done,
happy.
guys.
Thank you.
40
thank you.
episodes.
This is about,
Nice.
what, 2 or 3 years in the making? Right?
Is it?
Has
Our-
Fresno Sun been that long?
Has our friendship been this long?
That
It's
long?
been, two plus years. Yeah.
2 plus.
How
wow.
have you been? Then?
Because I've been great. Well, because, I mean, my son was on the inside, as we like to say, or in utero. I don't know if you want to get technical. But when we were filming, yeah. So those awesome premiere pictures of Nora ready to pop almost.
Right.
Yeah, I can't believe your pregnant wife came to our premiere.
Well,
Mass
I felt
cross
so bad because I was out of town for the first one, so I had to, send her as my emissary.
Right. The
Yeah.
the one that we had in Kew Gardens. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Seems like a lifetime ago.
Well, it's
Seems
good
so
you made
far.
the second one.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, we see your kid on Facebook. How's it? I gotta ask, how does it feel to be a father? Because you look extremely young, guys. Those of you watching and not listening, just look at this guy's face. He's so young and he has a kid. That's so crazy.
Well, I'm 31. I can say that. And it is a lot of work, but it is the most rewarding thing I have ever done in my life.
Wow.
That's some deep
And-
knowledge right here.
Well, I'll say this about marriage too, because I've entered the phase in my life where sadly, some of my friends have gotten divorced or are in the process of realizing that that's where things are going to have to go. And my wife and I have been married for 2 years now. We got married 2015, and we were talking to someone recently, and sorry, this just got really serious.
No, that's the way we
no,
like
but
it. we're gonna
like,
get
it's
laughy soon.
marriage takes work, and it has to, like, if it's gonna work, it takes work,
Right.
and this idea that, like, oh, if it's good, it should be totally easy. That's bullshit. And you throw a kid on top of that, man, like,
just literally throw him on top of those two people.
if my wife and I don't sit down every night and go through, like, okay, what are you doing tomorrow? Where are you? Who has price? Like, if we don't do that, like, our kid ends up, like, at home by himself.
By the way, I don't think I ever told you, but you named your son a really cool name.
Thank
That's
you.
like such
Thank
a cool
you.
name.
So
And,
that,
like he fits that name. too.
yes. Well,
Perfectly.
someone was joking. So my son's, for those of you who don't know, my son's full name is Price Carlton Eisenstein, which someone joked right before he was born that it sounded like a law firm, which,
It's gonna be one
Price
day.
Carlton
Yeah.
and Eisenstein, single person law firm. But man, we need good lawyers, so Anyway, it's a family name. My mother's full name is Julia Price Eisenstein, and her mother's name was Fanny Price, and Fanny is obviously a very old world name now. But in Jewish tradition, as you know, you name for someone who's passed on.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to honor my grandmother, who I was very close to and had a wonderful relationship with. But I wasn't, obviously I wasn't going to name my son Fanny. No offense, Grandma. But,
Good call.
That could be his baseball name.
Right.
Coming to the mound, Fanny.
Yeah.
Come here, Fanny. Fanny.
And Nora and I couldn't find a name that started with F that we liked. We thought of Frank, and we thought of Finn, and Fudge Eisenstein.
Fudge.
So you got to do the bully test. What's the bully gonna? How's the bully gonna mess up their name to make fun of them?
Right.
Right, and you gotta
Fudge is bad.
right, exactly. So we were like, well, how can I still honor my grandmother? And so we actually let go of the first letter being the same as hers, and I thought, what better way than to have my grandmother's maiden name be the first name of my child.
It's totally badass name.
Nice.
Price.
For a boy, that's
Right.
a badass name.
Well, and so what's really cool is like we have yet to actually meet another Price. It is a common name down in the South. It's an older name down in the South, and they spelt with a Y generally.
Nice.
So like Bryce with a...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, so we have yet to meet another Price, and I would love nothing more than for him to go through his entire elementary school, middle school, high school, but being the only Price in
It's
his
like
class.
being Beyonce. Who else is Beyonce?
Well, first off, I'm Beyonce. So, I did want to circle back to something you
Yeah.
mentioned. I didn't think we were going to hit this topic at all. Seriously.
Let's do
The
it.
whole divorce thing. I really didn't think we were going to hit it because we have...
You downed your
Two-
whiskey sour there, mister. I missed it so much.
It's-
It's good, right?
Well, if we're going to talk about divorce, I should down mine.
oh,
maybe,
God.
maybe you give a shout out to the
Fucking-
people that my drink was amazing. But thank
Shout out to the guy that made this. I don't know who did it upstairs, but it was really good. I think it was your brother. Anyway, the reason why I'm saying I didn't expect us to talk about divorce is because, we're all three of us relatively young.
Yeah.
31, you being the oldest, is
That's a new 21.
Is very young. I don't know about that. Have you been to me? Anyway, so I'm so curious to find out, and you don't have to mention names. What was the age that these people got divorced, and how long were they together?
Well, that's a great question. And one of them is, still in the process, and it's been a long process, and it's taken over his life, really, in a really difficult way for, I'd say, the last year plus.
But how long were they together?
That I don't know.
You don't know?
But
Okay.
probably 10 years is my guess.
Okay. So They're kind of
he's a little older than I am.
Okay.
But one of our other close friends, and they haven't decided whether or not they're absolutely gonna, they're still trying to work things out. They've been together, I think, about the same time Nora and I have.
2 years. Okay.
But it's both Nora and I come from divorced families.
Mm-hmm.
Both of Nora's parents are remarried, and definitely with the people that they should be with, which is a beautiful thing to see. Like, they really did find their person, and I'm so glad that they came together and made Nora and her brother. But it's one of the examples of okay, they really found the person that they were supposed to be with, and great. Divorce is doesn't. It's always hard. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Whereas my parents, they can't be in the same room. I haven't spoken to my father in 11. I haven't seen him in 11 years. I haven't.
Wow.
Well, I did, of course, when Price was born, I did let him know about that.
So does that drive you to be like a better father, knowing
Absolutely.
that? Yeah, right.
All information is usable.
Right.
And if even negative information. So by having the father that I have a great role model in what not to do. And that's just as powerful as having a great role model
Of what to do.
And so, I absolutely, I know that there are certain things that I will never do.
That is extremely powerful words, because you just took something negative and turned it into positive. Something that, it's easy to be positive when it's all sunshine and daisies, but when it's not so, I give you a lot of props for that you still see your father as a role model.
Has
And
that
what not to do.
Exactly, yeah, and I think it's in the acting world, there is a lot how
I was about to ask you,
if you've come across that.
How has that
and,
influenced you in acting in your career?
how has
That
my
relationship or
Oh,
something of that? Has it at all, or has it not?
Well, I'll answer it this way. Having had Price, my work has gotten infinitely better.
It's positive energy.
because absolutely, and he is. If you meet him, if you see him, it's even just seeing a picture of him, he radiates joy.
Yeah.
He is the bringer of joy. That's what Nora and I call him. He sits down on the subway and he looks at everyone and will wave at them or like clap at them or like give high fives or pounds until like everyone around him is smiling. Like that's what he does.
Nice.
But it's made me be able to walk into an audition room and be like, yeah, I'd like the role. Otherwise I wouldn't be there. Yeah, I want the role. But it's not about me, and at the end of the day, I get to go home to Price.
Right.
And what's better than that?
Nice.
You cast me, you don't cast me. All right, I get to go be with my son, and you have no say about that, Mr. Casting Director. So
That's awesome.
it's given me a sense of like, I know who I am, and I know what's important to me, and yes, and that has allowed me to pursue my acting with a clearer sense of self. That's what I'll say.
It's funny, like Bryan Cranston had the same mentality also. I don't know if it had anything to do with his children, but I was watching a video where he said like, give actors like some good advice. He said, your job is to put on a show, put on your work. You step into a casting room, you put on your show, and you walk out.
Mhm.
Everything after that is out of your hands.
Absolutely.
So there's no point of thinking about it. There's no point of stressing about it. Just leave it all in the room.
I've heard so many stories of here's the most recent one that just got blasted all over the internet. Sansa Stark, Game of Thrones fans.
Right.
Yes.
She just talked about the fact that she got cast in something because she had more
Followers
followers.
on Instagram, yeah.
Even though she knows she's not, or she says she's not as good an actor as the girl that
Right.
she was up against.
Yeah.
You know,
Crazy.
and so you never know. Like I auditioned for you guys for a different role.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then this role that I'm in, I'm the second lead in your film.
Yeah.
Backstory: Winter's son.
Yeah.
You
Mr.
auditioned
Michael
for-
Eisenstein.
I auditioned for
Bruises-
one of the thugs,
Bruises, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
one of the
Bruises,
thugs, and
yeah.
like, I love that part. Like, I was happy to audition for you. I would have
Yeah.
loved to have done that. And then you guys came back and were like, well, actually, how would you feel about being the lead? And I was
Yeah.
like, how would I feel about being the lead? What kind of question is that?
Well, let me tell you
Please.
something. Was I on your audition or on your callback?
You were on his audition. I wasn't there.
Yeah, and so I had a callback to see that where I did come back. You had asked me to specifically. You were at my first audition.
I was on your
with
first audition.
Rodrigo.
Okay, yeah.
And then you called me back specifically knowing that I was.
Was he there?
Yeah,
I was there for the
right.
call.
Because he
You
got
were there, right?
he got all up in my face and
Oh,
wanted
don't
to
give
see if I
anything
could-
away.
Yes. Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. I wasn't there for your first audition, which I really regret. But
Yeah, me and Drigo were like, dude, you gotta check this guy
yeah,
out.
Richie and Rodrigo right away told me, yo, this guy stumped us. Like, he was putting us in our place as a thug. And you're more of a skinnier dude, just
Right,
like me.
just-
But
I
you
remember-
were
Oh, stop the podcast.
Come on, we're all
Skinny? No. Hold on. Skinny implies no muscle.
Okay.
You're
I
talking
am
to a personal
thin.
trainer here, okay?
I am thin.
You're
We
talking
are
to-
all thin men here. None of us are skinny.
Can I say lean?
Amen.
Lean, absolutely.
We are lean men.
But skinny? Come on now. Okay, proceed.
I'm sorry, this guy has a black belt, so...
I remember your audition. It was like a complete improv. We told you to, what was it, like basically...
You were popping off, and he has to shut you
Yeah,
down.
you basically had to shut me up, right?
And he did a good job from what
He
I
shut
saw.
me up.
And then afterwards, when we
What
really
can I say? I take direction well.
when we needed a lead and we weren't able to find someone as good, they proposed the idea of giving it to you, and I was like, whoa, he played a thug so well, which I didn't think he could play because you're not thin, you're lean. But you definitely pulled it off on the callback, and I'm so happy you were a part of the
Yeah, but
cast
then
now.
Perry won that role, and Perry's also
well,
lead.
and Perry's a dear friend of mine, like
Perry's
from
awesome.
before this project.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
the fact that we both ended up on
Perry,
a
if you're
project,
watching, we want you
I
on here.
love you.
We want you on
You're
here.
next, man.
You're next. We
on
want
this.
you on here.
Yeah, I mean Perry's a dear friend, and so like to end up working on the same thing together
Yeah.
was a blast.
So much has happened since then. I know you've been doing something. I don't want to be the one to say it. I want you to
Yes,
specifically
please give everybody
Absolutely.
the good
what
news.
you've been up to.
So for the last year plus, my dear friend Brendan Bradley, who's an actor out in LA. Yes, you heard that right, LA. So
He's
New
not
York
here.
and
He's
LA.
not here.
No. He and I have created a fitness card game called BattleMat. And we have busted our butts and spent countless hours creating a 50-card deck that can generate over 30,000 unique workouts.
Wow.
Not bad.
So that's, I don't know how many times you like to work out in a year, but I think you're gonna be set for a while.
Solid 7 days.
Yeah.
In the
Who came up with the mathematical permutations?
I did. I figured that.
Mathematical.
But it's what the internet's for. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten unique fantasy artwork, 50 unique illustrations done by some wonderful artists that we found online.
Nice.
We've worked really hard to make sure that, for those of you who don't know, I've been a personal trainer in New York City for 11 years. So I'm an NASM certified personal trainer. And I also have a background in martial arts. I've been training since I was 6 in Taekwondo, Hapkido, and I've been training in Tai Chi for, 13 years now.
Holy crap.
So, my knowledge of the body is extensive, and so I've also been playing Magic: The Gathering since I was 9. I think I played from 9 to 16, and then discovered girls and stopped playing for high school and college, and then actually really funny. When you start dating someone new, right? And they're like, "Hey, I really want you to meet my friends." And am I gonna like their friends? And can we mix friend groups?
Right,
That's a huge thing, right?
Yeah.
And so Nora and I have been dating for a while, and not even less than a year probably. And she goes, "Hey, you used to play Magic, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, a long time ago." And she was like, "Well, my buddies Mike and Paul, who are twins and hilarious, and Paul's an actor and Mike is a great guy.
What was that?
I was trying to think of what he does. He does no, he's not an actor. He does programming.
Oh,
I think.
So
Sorry,
he's a
Mike.
great guy.
He is a great guy.
So your brother's cool. You're a good guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's an actor, so he's better. But no. That's not true at all. They were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do a draft. Why don't you come over and hang out?" And I was like, it got totally unleashed. I don't know if she actually regrets introducing me to these guys, but they've become really good friends of mine, and
your inner child came out.
It came flourishing out, and so now I got back into competitive play for Magic, nerd, yes.
Yo, it's cool. You're mixing nerd with the physical stuff. Which
well, that's that. So my website, thenerdyAssassin.com. I want to make it clear that you can be a nerd and still be a badass. And just because you are a nerd doesn't mean that you can't take care of yourself, and doesn't mean that you can't talk to girls, and doesn't mean that you can't excel beyond the world of fantasy or sci-fi or just being really smart.
We got a buddy who made our poster. He's in graphic designing. He's a comic book nerd, but he's a badass.
He was our first guest.
Shout out to Chris.
Huge.
Why do they have to be?
He's
mutually exclusive. You can totally be a 5th degree black belt and a nerd.
Yeah,
as I am.
And much props to you for being both.
And so I wanted to create a game that spoke to both fitness people and fantasy nerds, and the cross section like myself that applies to both. And the stereotype of the Magic the Gathering playing nerd is overweight, facial hair,
nice,
longer hair on top maybe, definitely glasses, which I have. I can't grow a beard to save my life though. And I've been to several larger tournaments, and to play Magic, you're sitting down, and if you're practicing Magic, you're sitting for long periods of time, and you're not using your body. And so I when Brendan came to me with this idea, because he had one of those straight up 4 a.m.
epiphanies,
I'm known
came
for those.
out. Yeah, I mean, he was I don't know if he was dreaming or lucid dreaming or had a dream and woke up. I don't know how it happened. I got an email that was probably 2 or 3 pages long, and I looked at the timestamp, and it was 4 a.m. Yeah. So he had this idea of combining fitness and Magic the Gathering. And so that idea really came from him, and then I was like, yes, and I ran with it, and I was like, yes, each of the colors can be a different thing for working out, but they can also correspond to something in the fantasy world. So cardio can be red, but it can also still be goblins and dwarves and giants, and black can be strength, and that can be like zombies and vampires and the undead. And then water can be the core. Water will be core activities, and it'll still be like sea creatures and merfolk type people, and
Nice.
so
You really ran with it.
I ran with it hard, and it's been a year of designing these cards. We're constantly looking for ways to make sure that they're as clear as possible, that there's no someone who's never worked out before, and I really want to hit that home. Like, if you've never worked out before and you've been scared about working out and you don't know how to begin because it's intimidating, like even Planet Fitness, who's like no judgment, like you walk in there and you don't know what to do, and it's like, well, I'm not going to walk up to someone who's in the middle of their workout and ask them like, hey, can you show me what to do? And be like, dude, I'm working out. But we wanted to, and this was one of Brendan's really, like, he really hit this home. He's like, I want someone who's never been able to work out before to pick this deck up, play the first intention, which is foundation, where everything comes from, and feel like they accomplished something, feel like it was a way in. And for those of you who were really excited about the fantasy and they never thought they would work out, don't even care about working out, hey, you're still playing a game. Right. You still get these cards, you still get to see the fantasy creatures doing these silly activities, because each card has the fantasy character in the position of the exercise. So you see massive gorillas doing, squats, and you see, massive saber-toothed tigers doing bench press. It makes you chuckle,
Yes.
And the idea was to be able to get them to say, okay, you know what? I know I need to take care of my health, because everyone knows that on some level.
Of course.
I know I need to take care of my health. I don't want to take time away from gaming, because that's what I love. So this is a way for me to still play a type of game, get a great workout, and then, get back to, deck testing for Magic. And on the other extreme, I wanted someone who, like myself, is a personal trainer, or someone like you who I know works out avidly, to be able to go, okay, maybe fantasy's not your thing. Cool, they have nice pictures, whatever. I wanted someone who was an avid trainer to be able to pick up the deck and go to the more advanced intentions and be like, that's a really hard workout. That kicked my ass. Wow. Like, they've obviously thought about the type of activities that I could possibly draw and what happens if this one happens to come after this one.
Right.
Now I'm doing a superset. Oh my god, like, that was really hard. And now,
So you have quite the range.
Absolutely, yeah. We have 10.
That can use this.
Okay. That was really... We worked really hard to make sure that...
So is this something you could do at home, or you should take to the gym with you?
Both.
Both. Okay.
So if you don't have... And that was another thing that Brendan really wanted to hit home, was there can be a high barrier of entry for someone who has never worked out before. Mm-hmm. Like, I happen to own a lot of personal training equipment. I've also been a personal trainer for a long time. So someone who, has never worked out before isn't about to run out and buy $100 worth of personal training equipment if they don't know if it's something that they want to do. So the first 3 intentions can be played without any equipment, right? Now, after you play those 3 intentions, and you've worked through building up your foundation and you've gotten a little bit of cardio going, then if this is something that you are like, hell yeah, give me more, then there's you can pick up 2 or 3 weights, and that's a low cost, and you can have those at home. Or if you're like me or like you and you want to take your deck to the gym and draw your hand and you have full access to a full gym, by all means, do that.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up, because I wouldn't, for myself, but I have a friend, and I'm trying to get them to work out. They've never been to the gym.
You have a friend?
Yes, no, I do. He
Is
can
it-
confirm. We're sharing
Are
this
you talking
friend.
about yourself right
No,
now?
No, we go to the gym. We go to the gym.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
We challenge ourselves, you know.
Good.
But
Now you guys can battle each other.
soon. Now, I have a friend. His name is Choey. Now, Choey, he has
Joseph
never-
Gardens. Use his name
I'm
right.
sorry, Joseph Gardens. Joseph P. Gardens. He's never been to the gym before. I'm trying to get him there. Every time he says he's gonna go, he just doesn't have that last step, that push. And the fact that you said you can play this at home,
Mm-hmm.
that sounds just awesome.
So in my years of being a personal trainer, the three biggest things that I hear as reasons not to work out, because everyone has their reason: motivation, accountability, technique. M-A-T. Battle
Matt.
Mat.
wow,
Right?
wordplay.
So also works as Brendan and Michael. I'm just saying. Like maybe we thought of everything. I don't know.
Dude, he's in LA. He doesn't get it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Shout out.
No, totally. He's gonna watch this. But yeah, I mean, motivation, accountability, technique. Motivation. This is a game. You get to play with a friend. At the end of the workout, there is a short battle that takes place where each of your activities gets to attack and try to lower your score. So depending on the activities that you drew, you then have this game of like chess / Hearthstone / Magic, where you've done your workout, so you're sweaty, you're dripping, you're out of breath. Ha, yes, great, success. Now I get to have a little bit of fun, and I get to try to lower your score based on the activities that I... So hopefully that motivates someone who...
competitive quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and where it really becomes competitive is, you know, Brendan and I worked really hard to make sure that this could be played as a solo game, where you're competing against yourself, so that at the end of the workout you get a score for that workout. So you can keep track of, you know, today I played agility, and I scored this, and the workout was this long. Great. So the next time you go to play agility, try to get a couple extra points, one way or another, you know.
Motivating. That's
exactly.
Nice.
Now, there's also a battle mode, where we can work out at the same time, and one of the genius things, if I do say so, about the game is that there are modifications, and the body adapts incredibly quickly. How many times have you heard someone say, well, I went to the gym for like a month, and I worked out, and I saw results, but then I stopped seeing results, so obviously working out doesn't work, so I'm going to stop working out.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Well, did you change anything in your routine? Well, no, I would go to the gym and I would do 10 push-ups, 15 curls, 20 crunches, and then run on the treadmill for half an hour. I did that every time I went to the gym. And for I saw really nice results for the first 2 weeks, and then nothing happened. Well, yeah, your body adapted. So
Muscle memory.
Well, and that's, the body will continually adapt to stimuli, which means you have to continually give it new stimuli. So we created these modifications so that at the end of round 1, I draw a modification, and now maybe I can pick an activity to do 2 more reps for this next round, or add a little bit of weight, or add more time, or this round maybe I can't wipe sweat off my face. I don't know if you sweat a lot when you work out, but I have some clients that would be really challenging for them. It's like, oh, now I'm going to slip everywhere. But when you're in battle mode, I can take that modification and be like, all right, Aaron, I'm going to give you more points, but I'm going to make your workout harder, because the goal of the game is to get the best workout possible. So I'm going to give you just a little bit more weight. Push yourself. There you go.
Nice. Okay.
Or I could say, you know what? I just want to beat you, so I'm going to make my workout really hard. I'm going to add the weight to my activity, and I'm going to get max out on my points, and at the end, when we battle, I'm just going to crush you. So,
Nice.
I get there. You can play the game with different intentions.
It's a genius idea.
Yeah.
Man.
I can't wait to
So-
go to the gym and then see someone playing these cards if it's not myself.
From your mouth, man. I mean, currently there are 36 hours left in our Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, talk about your Kickstarter.
Yeah.
campaign,
Wait,
'cause-
let him say the biggest news of
Yeah,
today.
So
Say-
the biggest news today is we are officially funded.
100%, baby!
Yeah, 103, 103%.
Good shit. Congratulations.
what was your goal? And
Our goal was to raise 23,500, and we
23,500.
Correct. Which we realized, we learned, man, I feel like I took a crash course in Kickstarter. Because that's all I've basically done for the last month. Looking back, yeah, I mean, we feel like, and I don't know any of this to be true, but it feels like Kickstarter has gotten away from, I don't know if I want to say that. It feels like people are coming to Kickstarter with fully realized ideas already and fully produced products already.
Okay.
That's what it feels like. And they're asking for significantly less money than it would take to actually produce and manufacture whatever game. And I'm just talking about the games. And so Brendan and I really came to Kickstarter and we're like, we have this idea, we know it's awesome, we need help producing this. Like it's just the two of us. We don't have the funds on our own to just like throw a bunch of money at this and hope it works, you know? So we, you know, that's why our asking price, I feel like, was a little bit higher than most of the other game type products you'll see on Kickstarter, which means that it took us a little bit longer to reach our goal. And one of the things that we've realized on Kickstarter is that the moment you hit 100%, they then help promote you a little bit more. You end up on the front page a little bit more. You end up...
What the fuck? No offense.
Well, no, it makes sense because it's a success story. Everyone loves success. And also once you hit 100% of your funding, Kickstarter then gets their 9%. So it's now in their best interest, they're a company, to get you. Yeah, exactly. They now know that they're going to get their 9%, so of course they want to make that 9%.
As much 9% as possible.
Right, that's just business. Like, I get that. But, you know, knowing that, I feel like there are some people on Kickstarter, and again, I don't know this to be true, but it feels like there are some people on Kickstarter who, knowing that, start out with a lower goal,
just to hit it,
knowing that it's attainable, knowing they'll hit it in the first 2 or 3 days, and then get the benefit of being a 100% funded Kickstarter success. So that's just something, you know, something to keep in mind if anyone out there is thinking of doing a Kickstarter for a project. You run the risk, though, like if you are someone like us who, you know, is really using Kickstarter for what Kickstarter started out to be, if we had hedged and said, okay, well, we really need 23.5. Let's only ask for, you know, I can't do math right now. 11, no, like, call it 12.50. 12,205. That's not right. Half of 23.50. Yeah, 23.5. Yeah. My brain, yeah. And it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Don't worry about it.
If we had asked for half and hedged, great. Let's say we hit that, and then, you know, only went over 100